And then we've got 2 to upload.
Aye.
Yeah. Right, okay, what was I doing? Yes, we needed to find out where to get treated, didn't we? Because I can't remember. So, I know I had this at some point. Tree generator, evolved software, there it is. Nice and easy. It's free, just download it. You can get it on Steam, but I just like to use I don't like to use the installer. I just download the latest zip and just run it as a portable version kind of thing. And basically, when it starts up, you've got this, and you can do a few different things. You can adjust like the scale of the tree. You can adjust the poly reduction. We've got it up to 100%, so it's reduced as much as you possibly can, and it still look good. I always leave it at 100% for VR, but if you really wanted to, you can reduce it so that it's got more polys. Same for the leaves. You could do what a split. No, we'll not do that. Edit joints. With edit joints, you could select one of these squares. How do I turn around like that? You could select one of these squares and then start playing around with it. You could adjust the length. You could adjust the radius and have it bulbous in places or really skinny in places. You can adjust the pitch and the yaw and have it, kind of bent. You can do whatever you want, really. No idea what that was originally on. Was it 100 probably? I'll just make this about maybe just on 0 probably. Yeah, just have a play around with it. I'm not going to bother with that at the moment. You can go to trunk. You can have more than one trunk. You could have 2 trunks, 3 trunks that it's going to work with, and you could have different trunk segments. I'm going to just turn this down to 1 for now. You can see here when I play around with the segments, you can see, especially if you look here, that it's got, this is like the first segment, second segment, etc. So just more for it to play around with. Subdivisions, I usually just leave it at whatever the default is. Split is where you can have it splitting like this. What would happen if we increase the number of trunks? We've got another trunk which we can split, and you can make some weird stuff. Trunk length, we can increase that. We can have it really short. Yeah, lots of stuff you can play around with. But then when we come to branches, this is where we can add branches to it. So let's just play around with a trunk first of all and see if we can make this a bit more. Don't think I want to really change that. Noise, no, we'll not bother with that. We'll leave that as it is. Crinkliness. We've got 2 trunks. You can see them now there, where it's split when I'm increasing the crinkliness. But this is a nice way of making really weird looking trees. Ooh. Ooh, that's interesting.
I like that. They almost look like antlers.
Yeah, they do a bit, don't they?
Yeah.
Gravity, you can have them kind of pulled down to the ground or go straight up. Gravity curvature, you can have it follow the sun if you wanted. Base, I like to have the base flared out a bit. So it kind of looks like that's where the roots are starting. Sine curvature, we can increase that a little bit so the base looks a bit more random. Trunk position randomness. Ooh, you could actually turn that up and have lots of trunks if you wanted, and have trees all over the place. Where was my trunk position randomness? There it was. Play around with where it's actually split on the trunk. Play around with the lengths. Ooh. Have them separated more or less. So yeah, just have a play around with it. Then, as I say, we'll add some branches, but we'll want the length of the branches to be a bit less than that, don't we? We'll also, does segments do much? No, not yet. Branch sides, subdivision, polyreduction. Stick that up to 100 for now. Split, yeah, we'll have them split as well. Distribution, nah, leave that. Branchlet count, we can add some more little branches off them. Branchlet sides, polyreduction, yeah, turn that up. Branch length, we'll turn that down a bit because that's a bit much. A lot of these I don't even understand myself. You just play with them, see what happens. Radius sign's often a nice one to play with, but let me see. Let's have a play with crinkliness on these as well. Ooh, look at that.
Gee.
That's nice. Let's turn the rate down a bit. I really like it being all loopy like that. That's really quite weird and stylized, isn't it? Shall we see if we can get the trunk to look a bit more like that as well? Crinkliness, where is it? Crinkliness. Ooh. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. That is a bit weird.
Perfect for Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, it would do a real tortured kind of tree. This is how I did the trees. I don't know if you've been to the graveyard where is it called Is Anybody There or something? Is that the one I'm thinking of? That's held in the storyteller's graveyard. That's how I did the trees in there. They were made with tree using the crinkliness thing. And I tried to make them look all kind of spooky looking.
Wow.
So yeah, then you come to doing the leaves, and this is where I've never really added leaves to trees. I've always ended up with something like this and thought, that'll do, it looks scary. That'll do me. Often what I'll do is I'll start off with one of the samples. You've got cactus, date, palm, flower, maple, willow. I'll usually start with a maple tree and then just adjust it. And look, there's one of the trees in the cathedral. Look at this.
Oh.
This is it. This is the maple tree. So it's not even original tree.
Wow.
But they're fun to have a play with. I think what I did with this, with the trees and the heat with man, honestly.
Sorry, I must have caught the button.
I'm sorry, bless you, but I couldn't think there with this DDDD in me ears. Usually what I'll do is I'll remove the leaves anyway. I'll just turn the countdown to 0. Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Goodness. Wow. We could delete leaf. No, delete leaf layer. Oh, well, maybe it's a read only. Doesn't seem to do much. Mesh. Maple leaf tree. Delete mesh. No, mesh count. Oh, there we go. That's how I did it. I just turned the mesh count down to 0. And then I played around with the settings, because that way it already had the bark on that I wanted. It's got a nice bark texture. And when you're ready, when you're done with it, let's just open up something else. Maybe the palm tree. When you're done with it, you can just go to File, Export, OBJ, and we'll stick it in, what have I called this folder again? I couldn't find it last time either. Assets. We'll just call it date palm. Oh, it wasn't. It was a cathedral. Damn. Let's stick it in there as well. And then you'll see somewhere there should be, if I can see it, because my eyesight's not that great, a date palm OBJ file. Am I going blind? I can see the textures. Let's try making it a bit bigger. I can see the maple. Lordy. File, export, OBJ. Cathedral. Assets. Is it there? No. Date palm. Import. OBJ. Date palm. And of course, it's always too big when you're bringing in OBJ. So it needs to be scaled to probably about 0.1. I think they're usually about 100 times bigger than they're supposed to be when you're bringing in OBJ. But yeah, works in
Wow.
works in Blender. So let's have a try. And there it is. Nope, didn't want that. See how oh, it's too big. Oh no. Still pretty massive, isn't it? And then you would just have to do your materials. That's all you've got to do. Just set up your shaders and your materials with the files that have been given to you, and you're good to go. No idea where the bark would be. There it is.
Wow.
There's the bark. So again, this is something where if we have a look in Blender, you can see how it's made. Even though the leaves aren't just planes, there is actual topology there, it's still relying on transparency. So you can see these frondy bits. So if I go into Eevee, into the rendered view, we can come down here to the date palm bit, and where it says opaque, just change that to alpha clip. And then in the shader, I'll just make that a bit bigger so you can see it better. In the shader, you can see it's got transparency because you can see the checkered background. So all we need to do is plug in alpha to alpha, and that should be it working. And as long as you set
Nice.
up your shader the same in Unity, that should be working perfectly. And it's probably not very realistic to have a feckin' massive date palm outside a cathedral, but you know, hey ho, we're just playing with it. So we've got colour, normal, and well, roughness, I guess, on there. They've got it S for smoothness, but it's not, it's roughness, and I can tell because it's mostly white. So it should be mostly rough for the bark. So that's fine. And this we've got colour, normal, smoothness. And this is transmission, which is great for Blender, but not for Unity. So we're going to forget about that. Transmission is for the light that's coming through the leaves. So if the sun was shining through and you'd see it, a little bit of the light coming through where the green's illuminated. Looks wonderful in Blender, but yeah, you can't get away with that. It's too much computing power required in VR, I think. So we'll just forget about that. So it's the same things. So I'm just going to use one shader, which I wonder if I've already set one up. What's this one like? Smoothness, emission. No, that's not what we want. So I'll just create a new one. And what now am I going to call it? Just basic PBR. That's what we'll call it. And there's 3 textures. Got colour, normal, and roughness. So I'll name them. Come on. Colour, normal. And because this is a normal, we also need, just drag that out so you can see properly, we need to tell it that that's got to be bump, and we need to unpack the normal map. And then this one is roughness. But because Unity uses smoothness, we'll have to invert it. So we'll use a 1 minus. And we'll plug that into there. The normal into normal, colour into albedo. And we'll save it. And I'm going to create a material. And I'm going to call it palm leaf. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm just going to call it Palm 02, the same as the trunk. We'll do the trunk first. Normal into normal. Roughness into roughness. That doesn't look right, but never mind. Let's see what happens. Drag that onto there. Yeah, there we go. And then what we'd need to do is where it says none, if you're going to bake your lighting like I like to, baked. And then this one, because it's got transparency and because I've struggled for such a long time trying to get really good looking shadows with transparency with Amplify and not succeeded, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to create new material, and I am going to use a built-in one for this. I'm going to call this Palm Leaf, and I'm going to use Autodesk Interactive. Somebody's probably going to go mad with me for this, but I'm going to use Cutout. I've never had any problems with frame rates when I've used this, and it works all right for me on both PC and headset, so I'm sticking to it. So actually, you know what? I wonder if I told that was a normal. No, I didn't. So we'll change that to a normal map. And this one, I need to tell it that it's a grayscale map, so we'll untick sRGB. And the same for these. This is a normal, this is a grayscale. So untick that. So where's my palm leaf? I haven't put in the roughness yet, so I'll plug that in. And then, scary bit, testing it out. Okay, now, this is where we've got to have a check and decide, can you see the leaves from the underside? Because one of the problems that we have with some of these models is the leaves are single-sided, which means that when you bring your tree into Unity, it might look full and lush in Blender. When you bring it into Unity, the leaves could look really sparse, and it's because you're only seeing the ones that the normals are facing you, and anywhere where the normals are facing the opposite direction, you don't see them. So that's why I like to double check. Can I see the leaf from both sides? And to be honest, it's looking promising. Yeah, that kind of looks okay. So yeah, there you go. There's a palm tree. Quick as that.
Nice.
And to bake it, like I've done with the other trees, you just select your palm tree, and should be 2 objects. Yeah. Normally, I would just tick contribute to global illumination, and then afterwards, when I'm ready to finish uploading, I would then decide for each thing, well, do I need it to be an occluder? No, I don't, because you're not supposed to go outside. Do I need it to be an occludee? Yes, I do, because when you're behind a wall, you don't need the tree to be rendered because you won't see it. The camera's not going to see it. So I always like to think about these things. Am I going to use a reflection probe? Probably not outside, so I won't tick that. I'd probably only tick that. A lot of people just mark the whole thing as static, which you can absolutely do, but it's increasing computing power for your headset. And it's best, really, it's just good practice, as if you're going to be really trying to optimize your scene as much as possible. Just select the stuff you need. Don't expect it to do everything. It's really not needed, and it is going to affect performance, especially in large scenes. So yeah, that's basically it. I wouldn't bother giving it a collider. I wouldn't bother doing anything. Even this flow, I don't think's got a collider, because you can see, well, you can see through the walls because they're only one-sided. To try and cut down on geometry, You're not supposed to go outside. So what's the point of having a collider on everything? Literally, I mean, I'll go through the things that I think need a collider and I'll give them it. A lot of the time with some of the worlds I make, I don't even put colliders on the ceilings and stuff. I'll just put them on, you know, the walls and the floor. And if there's any objects you need to be able to not walk through, I'll put colliders on them. And that's it, nothing else. In this world, I did put colliders on the ceiling eventually because they're so high. I turned on Spider-Man. It's really fun swinging around the place. So that's the only reason I put colliders on them. But again, just be selective. Try and do as little as possible when it comes to, yeah, even baking your lighting. I don't know if I've done it with this one, but with, oh goodness, where's it gone? With some of my object, yeah, I did. I deleted the bottom out of this altar because that was a whole face that was getting baked into the lighting, and that all takes up memory. It takes up space on the light map. I literally go around deleting everything I can think of. So there'll be loads here that I haven't deleted. Oh, I have done the ones at the back, but these ones, there's faces on these pillars that I really ought to delete, because you're not going to see them from this side. There's loads of things I could still delete. Well, maybe not. Can you see through the ceiling? Yes, you can. I can probably delete some of the faces here. Oh, I already have. Ah, you see, I've even deleted that face. So it's not even a complete cylinder. And that's even on the trim. So wherever I can, if I can reduce the size of the light map so that I can get more quality and crank up the texel resolution, I will. That's always good, just good practice as well. So yeah, trees. I've been playing around talking about palm trees and how to optimize your scene, which wasn't really what I was planning to do. So let's just go back to the maple tree. Again, this is exactly what I've used outside here. If I was to select this tree, I think this whole thing, I brought this originally into Blender and I think I exported it as an FBX, did I not? Yes, I did. It's an FBX, this one, not an OBJ. Unity likes FBXs. Doesn't really like OBJs. You have to, as I say, well, you've seen, we had to adjust the scale and everything. You can just do it all in Blender. Apply all the transforms, apply the scale and everything, export it as an FBX, and it just, yeah, it's happy. But with this one, I did have to adjust the leaves. I did have to make them double-sided. This is where I'm checking to make sure they are double-sided and I haven't dug myself a hole. Yes, they are. And to make them double-sided, what I did was, let's just export it as an OBJ again. And I'll just stick it in the Create folder so I know where to find it, because I'll be deleting it afterwards. Maple. And we'll import OBJ. It's in the Create folder. We'll just get rid of the date palm. We'll scale it down by 0.1. Apply all the transforms. And then you'll see it's all one model. It's not split up into two meshes like the OBJ is. So all I did was go into face orientation. You can see some of the faces are red, some of the faces are blue. So anywhere where there's red showing, you're not going to see the leaf at all. So if we go into edit mode, deselect everything by double tapping A. Leaf maple, the material here, select that and do select, and it'll only select the faces that's got that material on it. And then separate it out by selection. So that was P for separate and S for selection. So now I've got two meshes. One's the leaves and one is the bark. So the leaves, back into edit mode, select all the faces, duplicate them. So we've got exactly the same thing, but this time hit Alt N and F for flip. So now we've got identical leaves, but we've got normals facing both ways, if that makes sense. And then we can join it back to the original tree, and we should be able to export this. I'm going to export the mesh, selected objects, D, Banter projects. I'll stick it, no, I'm not going to put it there. I'm going to pop it in Cathedral, Assets. I'll just leave it as untitled because I'm going to delete it. I've got my tree already set up. There's my untitled thing. For now, I'm going to temporarily give this a collider. Box collider. No, not a box collider at all. We say Egypt. Mesh collider. Mesh collider. So that now I can drag my tree and it will actually sit on the collider on the ground. And yeah, stick that over there where it's well lit. And you can see the tree is actually looking pretty good, pretty full and lush, and the leaves are all showing. They haven't got the proper materials on them, but you know, that's easy enough to do. Just got to find the materials. No idea where they are. Let's have a look here. Leaf maple, it's in there. So we'll just drag that onto the leaves. And have I got the bark? Bark maple, we'll drag that onto the bark. And there's our tree. And the leaves you can see right the way through the tree, as you should be able to. I probably should have done one without the whole process, shouldn't I? Is that still joined? Oh, we'll just join that back together. File, export, FBX. And this time we're going to call it Untitled Single Side. Find that one, drag it in. I just want it to be lit well like this one is, that's all. But hey ho, we'll stick it there. And we'll just move that one over. So just because it's actually touching the light probes that I've got inside the cathedral, that's how it's lighting up when I put it there. It was just easier to be able to see it properly. So give it its leaf, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it doesn't look anywhere near as full and as lush as this tree, because the leaves are, many of them, it just looks bare. You know, many of those leaves are just single-sided. What I probably should have done it's just turned off the lighting, so it's all the same. Yeah, look at how awful that looks. When you look through the
Right.
tree, it's really sparse, there's hardly any leaves, whereas this one, there's loads. Many of them's looking black, but that's just because it's not being baked, that's all. But yeah, that's the difference. Always a good idea to check if you make anything at all and you have any problems with things not showing up properly, or you think, oh, but I made this and it's got a lovely pattern and I put it on the wall and I can't see it. What's wrong? Chances are you've got the normals facing the wrong way, facing towards the wall. And like I say, leaves, you have to have double-sided, otherwise it's just going to look awful. So yeah, I'm kind of running out of steam now, out of ideas what to talk about after going on for like 2 sessions. So has anybody got any questions? Because I was here at 7
So,
o'clock. Anybody that doesn't know, I don't
yeah.
know who's left in the classroom. I've got to close all these windows to say, oh, it's just us two now. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. There was somebody here just a few minutes ago.
Hmm.
So the process that you use to duplicate and then flip the leaves so that you'd get double-sided, that'll work for pretty much everything. Because I
Mhm.
struggled with my dance studio that did not have an exterior, and I wanted to try to put an exterior at least on one end where I wanted to duplicate what the inside of the door looked like on the outside. And I
Mhm.
think I did something similar that I finally got to work. So that
Yeah.
works for pretty much everything then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, technically, you could use a double-sided shader, but double-sided shaders use more resources than rendering a double-sided mesh, which is essentially twice the number of polygons, but it's just a single-sided shader on all those polygons, so it does take less resources to
Okay.
render generally.
Okay.
And
Because from what I was reading, that was the other option. But can we even use a custom shader like that here in Banter? I wasn't sure if we could or not.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
There's all sorts of cool, funky things you can do with shaders in Banter. There's some brilliant things you can do. And actually, this cathedral, I didn't even unwrap it. Because, I mean, unwrapping can be a pain in the backside anyway to make textures fit. I didn't even unwrap this at all. I literally used, let's turn on my lights because that's looking a bit weird. I literally used, let's see, sandstone. We'll open it up. I used what they call a triplanar shader. So it doesn't use the UV map. You don't need to unwrap it. It just looks at the model in world space, looks at the top, bottom, and the sides, and wraps the texture around it. As simple as that.
Oh.
You can do the same in Blender that not a lot of people know about. Not a lot of people know this, but if, for instance, you've made something quite complex and you really can't be bothered to unwrap it and make the texture look good, don't bother, because you can do the same thing in Amplify as well. So if I was to, let's grab some images, some texture of some sort. I don't know what. It's probably going to be in downloads. Actually, shall we just use this marble? No, because that's going to look a bit, it won't be clear enough. What have I got that I could use? I've got that many different things. Yeah, would be good if I can find a wood or a ground. Shall we have a look at this? Has it got anything in there? Yeah, because at least wood's got a grain, which is going to really show up if the grain doesn't flow properly and whatever. So we'll drag that in. We'll just use the colour and nothing else. So there it is with the standard box. But if I was to start editing that box, you know, I might want to do something like this. You can see at the sides it's all stretched, and I would have to start unwrapping it properly so that this is the texture actually flows across this surface properly. Because if you look at the UV editing, it's still only a cube. You can't see the sides of these bits. It's as if these don't exist, because this edge all around here is occupying the same space on the UV map as this edge here. So there is no UV space for these bits. And so it's essentially one pixel that's being repeated over and over again, and you get like stretched sides. And the same for the inside here. So I could unwrap the whole thing properly the way I did, with creating seams and unwrapping each section and straightening them out and having them rotated so the grain goes the right way and everything else. But I could save myself a bit of time and just, I'm going to use Node Wrangler for this. It is free and recommended that you use it because it's built into older versions of Blender. Don't know if it's a built-in add-on, but if not, it's still available in the extensions in the new version. And it's just a standard. Everybody uses it. And it's just a quick way of navigating in the shader editor. It works with geometry nodes as well, but for this, normally I would have to look for the mapping node and, you know, whatnot, but all I have to do is hit Control and T, and Node Wrangler knows I need texture coordinate and mapping. And what you would do is you would change this one flat to box and change this from UV to object. And it just wraps the texture perfectly around the object. And essentially, I don't know if you saw that properly there because it's still half a screen, but you can see we've got wood grain now going around the edges of the box. And essentially in Unity, this shader is doing exactly the same thing. So I've got the color and the channel packed image, which has just got the 3 grayscale maps in there, the ambient, occlusion, roughness and metallic, all in one, which is why it looks like a funky color. I don't know if you were here when we did any of the channel pack and stuff, but they're on previous videos, and it's a really good way of optimizing. If you want to use ambient, occlusion, roughness and metallic maps, you can put them all into one texture by putting them into the red, green and blue channels, and that's why when it's all compiled into an image, you get these funky colors. But then you just split it up and use the red, green and blue channels, plug them into the right nodes, and it works. And it's a way of combining 3 textures into one, which again is a really, really good way of optimization. So that's all I've done anyway. It's triplanar. There's your images getting plugged in. We'll tell it that it's world position, and I've just used tiling. And blend is just, for instance, if you've got a sphere with a curved surface, blend just smooths anything that's treating the top as a side, and then the other. I don't know if that's going to make sense. But if I was to add in here, I'm really bad at explaining. If I was to add a UV sphere, let's get rid of this cube first of all, and we'll give it the same material that we had. You'll see here, there's these weird seams. If I shade smooth it so you don't see that. You see how it's got like a square for the top and a square for the sides, and you've got these weird joins. It doesn't look smooth like it should. But in shading, you can adjust the blend and you can have them kind of run into one another. That's a bit much having it set to 1, but you can just kind of soften those edges so it looks a bit more natural. And that's basically what's
Okay.
happening. I'll move that down a bit so you can see a bit better. As the blend's turned down to 0, you've got a hard edge. You can just turn it up a bit and soften that, and they kind of blend together, which is really useful for like rock textures and things. And essentially, as I say, that's all this is doing. And it's called fall off in Amplify Shader Editor, but it's the same thing. It's still blend. It's just telling it when the texture fades out or falls off, basically. Yeah, so it's the same thing. You can do all kinds, most things you can do in Blender. You just need to think about it a bit and think about what the, oh God, what am I doing? Think about what the nodes in Amplify Shader Editor do and try and recreate it. And most of the time you can do pretty well. So yeah, like I say, in here, it's not even unwrapped. Even these bits aren't even unwrapped, which is why you can see, and it shouldn't look like that, but the mortar between the rocks is, you've still got straight lines that's going over the design. But I just thought, you know, you're never going to see it. It looks like, you know, it's being treated as if it's all one object and it's just flat. That shouldn't be like that, but I just think, you know, the place is so big, when you're standing down here in the pews and look up, you'd never see it. So I don't bother. I don't bother fixing it. So yeah, 3 minutes to go. I've waffled on. My mouth's dry, my throat hurts.
Well, thank you so much.
I don't think I've ever done a 2-hour session before. And I hope I didn't sound like I was falling asleep and struggling to keep going.
No, this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Very,
Very, very helpful.
Sometimes I think, you know, it would be nice if we could just have a Q&A session. Maybe we'll do that one week where I haven't got to think about something new to do, and just have a Q&A. And if anybody wants to know, I'll just demonstrate it. That might be a good week to just answer questions if anybody's got issues and see if we can work through them.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be wonderful too.
Maybe we'll do that next week. That's what we'll do next week, because I'm on a late shift next week and it's going to be a rush to get home. And oh, I haven't said that. What date is it next week? Lordy, I don't know. Hang on. Let's just grab me. Oh, the 10th. Right. Okay. No, I'm fine. 11th is going to be difficult, but I'm working from home. It's the Sunderland half marathon. So they're closing the office because all the roads in Sunderland are closed.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to work from home that day. But I'm in the office on the 10th, so that sucks. And sometimes I do struggle to get home in time. If there's a football match on, that's it. There's no way I'm going to get home in time. But I'll also have a look at the diary. I don't have one. I hate football. I've got no interest whatsoever. You know, I get customers on the phone asking me that. Who do you support, Sunderland or Newcastle? And I just say, neither. I hate football. And they go, what? But you're a Geordie. They can't believe it. It's like saying, I don't believe in air to some people. It doesn't compute in their brain. Don't believe in breathing.
I'm kind of the same way. I just call it all sports ball. I don't even give it a name. It's all sports ball. Just generic sports ball.
Yeah. Doesn't interest
me. But my
me.
son is a huge fan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to pop off. Thank you again. This was absolutely amazing. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
No problem.
Right, I will see you soon.
Q&A next week. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Right. Bye.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay,
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh man, my heat's spinning. My heat's absolutely spinning now. So I think I'm going to go and see if I can find a beer somewhere I think that sounds like a plan. I might have to go to the shop. I
Sounds
don't think I've got a
interesting.
beer in. So,
Oh, sacrilege.
I know. So, okie dokie. I don't think there's anything. Is there any events on? I know I can't make the blooming Thursday night Spacemaker now, Friday night, because it's movie night for us.
No,
It's always on at the same time.
no.
But I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything on till the courtroom comedy clashes there. I should probably stop recording. That might be an idea.